Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you guys for coming. Today we're going to talk about Manas Part 4. This is the fourth class on Manas. I'm going to review the main points from last week. Then we're going to do another Meditate on Manas exercise. And then I'm going to talk about the sense of taste today. That's why the cat is licking its lips. And then I'm going to tell you about a story at the end, the case of Jess and the big mess. So we're going to review the main points. The nose. Remember that from last week? So mindful smelling was one thing we talked about last week. Remember? Focused awareness on your reactions of your manas to different things you smelled, right? Then we talked about the power of essential oils, and you guys got to experience that, right? The power of essential oils to manage feelings such as your feelings of anxiety or feelings of depression. And then we talked about how scent is the only scent out of the sense of smell is the only one out of the five senses that acts differently. It bypasses the thinking mind. So it's like whoop, and it goes straight into triggering emotions. That's why we can react very quickly and have a very strong feeling when we smell something. Also, the sense of smell we can be influenced by their sense of smell without even realizing it. Because we're not thinking, it's not going through your thinking mind. So something can happen and we can feel really emotional and we might not realize it. It's because, of somebody's aftershave that reminded of us of our grandfather who we love very much but who died, And so we're feeling sad. And the good news is we can use our sense of smell to our advantage. That's why I gave you all one of those essential oils to keep and try to use over the week. If you're getting triggered in some way, you can smell something and it can very quickly take you to another place emotionally. So that's how we can use the sense of smell to our advantage. Also sniffing. Remember I talked about sniffing? Sniffing is like smelling other people in this sense. You can smell other people's emotions. That's what they're talking about last week, those different studies, right? Those research studies that you can actually smell if somebody's fearful. To a pretty large degree, you can catch it, 77% they were saying, right? And you can also the smelled emotions may be contagious even. So if you're around your friend and she's happy, but she's not smiling, you don't know she's happy from the smell, you can smell. You can smell her happiness. Okay? So let's get right into the next exercise. Now we're going to do taste. Today, taste. Okay? So it's the same idea, meditate on manas, but this time it's a focused awareness on your reaction to how things taste to you. Okay? So everybody here has a tasting sheet, right? And Divya and Pandit are going to hand out the plates for you now. If you're watching virtually, just go to your fridge or wherever you can that you keep food, and just pick 10 items to taste. Okay? It can be a wide range of different tastes. If you have different things, don't pick all the same type of taste. And for you guys, you're going to have a plate with 10 items on it. So get out your feelings wheel. Get out your tasting sheet, get out your pen, and get ready to record your answers, okay? So here's the instructions. The plates are going to come to you now, so make space for that as well, okay? Everyone's going to have a plate with 10 things on it. Don't start tasting yet or touching. Just listen to the instructions first, and then we'll go one by one. Okay, Vera, yours is coming? Okay, so here's the instructions. Take the item, the first item when I tell you, and place it in your mouth, okay? Then close your eyes because we don't want you to involve your other senses in this. We're just trying to isolate your sense of taste. So don't put it into your nose and smell it, Don't look at it, don't feel it, or, just focus your best that you can just on getting it into your mouth. So, and then close your eyes and slowly chew it. Okay? And then notice any unpleasant sensation, and either it's in your body, you're like, ew, I don't like how it feels on my tongue, right? Or, ooh, that makes me feel angry, or that makes me feel happy, or makes me feel light. So you can notice two different things, the bodily sensation or the mind sensation, what's coming in your body or mind, okay? And then write down your feelings related to tasting this item. Get out your feelings wheel and look and try to pick a feeling. If this is too much, if you're like, I don't know the feeling, it's too specific, just write like, or just write dislike, okay? Okay. Does anyone have any questions? That's all. Everybody has a plate? And no questions. Everybody has a sheet? Vilas, you don't have a plate? Vilas and Malik, you don't have a plate? Oh, yeah. Hold on, I'm not done. Before we begin, you have the right to reject any food item that you do not want to taste, okay? There's no garlic and there's no onions, but if there's something else you're like, ooh, I don't want to taste that, listen to the needs of your body and your mind, and you're not forced to taste any of this. This is supposed to be fun. It's totally optional, okay? Was that your question?
Yes.
Okay, you have the right to reject. Okay, so now, everybody has your plate. Feel free to reject the item you want to reject. You can either go back to something you already tasted too, or if you don't want to play the game at all and you just want to look, you can even write what you think by looking at it. Okay? And does everybody online who's listening, you guys should all have 10 items in front of you, and if it's too hard to get 10 like foods, you could also get spices. You can have like salt or pepper or chili or chili powder or cumin powder. You don't have to necessarily get 10 foods per se. You could even get some drinks. I'm not handing out drinks today because they're too messy. I hope I thought you might spill, right? But if you're at home, you could get drinks, you can get spices, you can get foods. Okay, everybody ready? Yeah.
If someone has extra 2 pens, then better let them
2 pens. Everybody else has something to write with. Everybody has the sheet. Okay, please follow the instructions. So you're not putting the nose clip on. That's not, did anybody hear me say that? No. So then why are you putting it on? That should be last, with your things last, okay? This is Manas gone unhinged. Manas just does whatever it wants, right? It's like, oh, I see that, and what do? You just take it and start acting. So try to follow the instructions. My instructions were don't touch anything on the plate, and just listen to the instructions, okay? Yeah.
Yes.
All the food is offered. Okay? Okay. 3, 2, 1. We're going to taste and see how you feel. Okay? So the first one is the golden raisins. It's on your left. If you listen to the instructions, it's a very slow. You're not swallowing it. You're chewing it very slow with your eyes shut. Not open, not looking at other things. Your eyes shut, and you're trying to taste something that you've never tasted before. You've probably had raisins before, but see if you can sense something that you've never sensed before because you're going so slowly. You may notice something very subtle. It may not even be about the taste. Maybe it's something about the texture. Your mouth can feel texture too, you know? It may be how the taste changes. The longer you keep it in there, the taste starts changing as well. So when you're ready, you can swallow and then look at your sheet, and it asks you how you feel. It says, golden raisins, I feel blank. So you can look at your feelings wheel and pick one feeling and write it in there. And if you can't identify a feeling, you can just circle like or dislike. Okay? I feel what? And then like or dislike. If you want, you can do that. Okay? Underneath there, it says number, rank. Ignore that for now. We're going to come back and do that later. If you're in the class, you have a sheet. Ignore number, rank. Just write down your feeling. Okay? If we were at a proper fancy restaurant, I'd give you something to cleanse your palate, like a melon sorbet. So it'd be clean and ready for the next thing to taste. Maybe next time. But this time, I don't have something fancy like that. Okay. So we're going to go to number 2. Lemon. It's the one right next to the raisin. They're right together. You might just want to dab it on your tongue. And, it's quite strong for some people. Or squeeze a drop, right? So take your time with that. Eyes shut. When you shut your eyes, it's actually you can taste more deeply. Just shut your eyes and try a little bite of that. Go slow. If you bite a tiny little bit, keep it in your mouth and see how it feels. Maybe move it to different parts of your mouth. Does it make your mouth water or do something pucker up? Does it make your face cringe? How does it make your body feel? Does it get like tight? Does it make your mouth water, right? Or your throat tight? Does it make you cringe? Some people like it. They go, ooh, I want more of that. Depends, right? So notice how you feel emotionally or mentally, what your feelings might be. Something physical you notice in your body, and then you can put the lemon down and then look at your feelings wheel and see if there's some sort of feeling that you can be specific about what it was. And if not, you could just click out, circle like or dislike. And if you're listening and doing this at home, same thing. If you're not able to identify the exact feeling, you can just circle like or dislike. Okay. Okay. So now, I should have had water. I didn't think of that, I'm sorry. Lemon's a little hard to keep in your mouth. Okay, how about this one? Number 3, olives. So you have some olives on your plate. Nice and slow, with your eyes closed, put it in your mouth. Try to chew it like extra slow. Maybe you don't even bite it. Maybe you just keep it in your mouth for a second and just feel it a little. Try not to swallow it first. Try to chew slowly with your eyes closed and see how that makes you feel. That's quite different than a lemon, isn't it? An olive. It's a very sharp contrast, right? And it's very different than the golden raisin you started with. I thought if I didn't start with something like that, maybe you wouldn't want to do it at all. So let's start with something sweet. So how does that olive feel? What kind of feelings come up for you, either in your body or your mind, when you taste the olive? Okay, you can swallow and get out your feelings wheel and see what feelings come up for you. And if you can't get a specific one, it's okay. You can just click off if you like it or dislike it, and later you can check your feelings wheel and try to find a feeling. Sometimes it comes to you later. Okay. Let's move to the next one. Ooh, green chili pepper. If you are not used to hot things, be careful. You can try a little bite. You can break it maybe first, and or you could bite a little and just touch your tongue to it. Be careful if you're not used to hot things. And you also don't have to taste it. You can say, I take a pass on this one. Okay? But if you're doing it, try to do it with your eyes closed. And be very slow and deliberate with that. And see what it brings, what feeling comes. Because I bet it's going to be a very different feeling than when you eat a golden raisin. Right? What feeling comes when it touches your tongue? What is that feeling? Notice what it does to your mind. Does it make you want to sleep? Does it make you want to cry? How does the green chili pepper affect the mind? Sometimes you can tell if it affects the body in a certain way and try to tie that to the mind. Okay. Almost halfway there, guys. Let's move. Turmeric. Turmeric root. You have a little piece of turmeric root in front of you. See what you think of that. Nice and slow with your eyes shut. Try to focus completely inward. When your eyes are open, you're also taking in information that's not the turmeric root. So try to close your eyes and see what it does to your tongue. Now your tongue's already taken a beating. It's on the 5th thing. So it might be getting a little dulled, or maybe it's getting more energized from the chili. How do you feel when you taste this turmeric root? What does it do for your feelings? How does it affect your mind? If you're not catching something, maybe it's more subtle, see how it affects your body. Does your body feel relaxed, expanded? Turmeric root. Maybe it's strong and it makes you cough. Maybe it's too dry. Okay. Go ahead and write down your feeling for the turmeric root. And now we're moving to number 6. You guys made it halfway. Now we're on number 6, pomegranate. Pomegranate. You should have a few little pieces of pomegranate. What happens for you when you put the pomegranate in your mouth? That's a different taste, isn't it? It's different than that turmeric. What do you notice? What feelings come when you taste the pomegranate? Different, huh? What feelings? Also bodily sensations. Might make somebody sneeze. That could be a reaction. So write down your feeling for the pomegranate. Okay? Okay. Got it? So now we're going to pause, because you've done 6, that's a lot of tastes. And I want you to look at the 6 you've done, okay? And rank order them. That's what that little number is. If you're watching, you can just, and you don't have this sheet, which you don't have, you can just write number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So look at the 6 you've just tasted. Out of the 6, what is your most favorite one? What did you like the best? Put a 1 there. In the box on this sheet, it says number rank. You can put a 1 in that, whatever your favorite one was. So like, just say your favorite was pomegranate. That's number 6 here, but in the box you put 1, you know? And then the one you hated the most, like if for example, the lemon was, or the chili pepper, maybe a lot of people don't like that, you could put it 6 there and do 1 through 6. So there's 6 boxes and there has to be 6 different numbers. It can't be like, well, these 3 I like all as number 1. You only can have 1 number 1, 1 number 2, 1 number 3, okay? So go ahead and rank order those. 1 is the best, the one you like the best, and 6 is the one you like the worst, the least. We're giving your mouth a break, just a little break here too, because we got 4 more to go, but at least you can have a minute to... And if there's some you don't know about, that's okay. You could just put like, okay, my favorite, I know for sure I like this the best and I like this the least. And the other ones, maybe you can't figure out, so just leave it. If there's some you're not sure, don't break your head over that. But there's probably one that you definitely liked a lot and one you really didn't like, right? And a bunch in the middle. Okay. 1 through 6 done. So now, let's do number 7, cucumber. Give that one a try. Eyes shut, just take a deep breath in and slowly chew it. Try to see if there is a taste, something you can taste in the cucumber that you've never tasted before, because a lot of us eat cucumber every day, right? See if you can pick up on something so subtle about the cucumber that you've never noticed that before. Try to chew slower than normal. And slow your breathing down. And see what you can notice about something that you probably take for granted and eat all the time, but it may have something in there that's more subtle that actually you notice how that affects your mind as well. And when you're ready, you can look at your feelings wheel and put a feeling. What does that cucumber do for your mind? How does it make your mind feel? You may have noticed something that you've never noticed about a cucumber before. Okay, we're going to move to number 8 now. You have some beans. These are chickpeas, but they're not fresh. They're from a can. See if you notice anything when you eat a canned chickpea. What do you think about that? How does that taste to you? Go slow with it. Notice if there's anything different in there compared to the chickpeas Dada cooks fresh for us. See if there's anything different about this. How does it make you feel? A canned chickpea. When you're ready, you can write your feeling down. Okay. Something about a canned chickpea. Now we're going to go to the last 2 things, which you have 2 kinds of chocolates in front of you. Okay? So there's a nose clip there. You guys will see. There's a nose clip there. And that's, I'm going to show you what Babaji was mentioning in class this week. Remember how somebody was saying you can eat an apple, and I think Raman was saying, oh, you can eat an apple and a potato and you really wouldn't know the difference? So I want you to experiment and see what you think, okay? You have, I'll explain first, you don't have to put the clip on because it might be uncomfortable. Let me just explain first. So basically, you have a dark chocolate and a milk chocolate. But if your nose is plugged, I'm wondering if you can, how much of a difference you can tell. So you're going to eat first one of the chocolates with your eyes shut, so you have to mix them up, so you don't know which one you're going to grab. With your eyes and your nose shut, and then when you put it in your mouth, see if you can tell which one it is, you know? And then after, when I say, okay, then take the clip off with that one still in your mouth, and then see if there's a difference with your nose closed versus not. I'll take you through the steps, but I'm just letting you know in advance that's the plan. So you can get your clip ready. If you don't want to put a nose clip on, this is actually for swimming, but it pinches it really well. So if you don't want to put it on, you all have one. I put it on your plate. You can just hold it with your fingers. But the idea is so you don't smell, okay? So the first step is close the nose. You can open, yep, like that, and you just, yep. Okay, so first step is pinch your nose. If you don't have a nose clip and you're watching, just pinch your nose, okay? Next step is open your mouth and get ready. Now mix your chocolates up. Mix your chocolates up and close your eyes and then put the chocolate in, but don't look and see which one it is, okay? Don't forget to breathe through your mouth, okay? Okay, so breathe through your mouth. Put one of the chocolates in there with your eyes closed and your mouth closed, your nose closed, and really slowly chew it. And see if you can tell, is this a dark chocolate or milk chocolate? Don't look at the chocolate though, before you put it in. Okay, is that a dark chocolate or a milk chocolate? Which one is it? Don't swallow it, don't swallow it. As soon as you got your guess, then take off your nose clip. Take off the nose clip. Once you've guessed, is it dark or milk, take off, and now keep it still in your mouth and see which one is it. See if you can taste the difference after you unplug your nose. Can you taste it? You taste the difference? Okay. So you can write down how you felt when you were tasting it without the sense of smell, and then how you feel when you're tasting it with the sense of smell. And once you've done that, you can do it with the second piece of chocolate. You don't have to close your eyes because you know it's the other one, you know. So whatever the second piece is, again, clip your nose. You can keep your eyes open and try that second piece and see if that experiment works again. That your nose is closed and you're chewing it. Can you taste it? If you're tasting the milk chocolate, just say for the second time, can you taste it? If it is a milk chocolate, how well can you taste what it is? You know? And how does it make you feel? What feeling comes up with the nose clipped when you're tasting, besides pain in your nose? And then how does it feel when you're tasting it with your nose open? What do you feel? I was just using chocolate, but if you're listening and you're like, I don't have any chocolate, you can do it with whatever you want. The key point is plugging your nose and seeing the difference of how something tastes, how the same thing tastes with your sense of smell versus without your sense of smell. Finish. Finish. Yeah. You guys can go. Thank you. Finished, yeah. No, we're done. Yeah. Thank you. Finished. This is later. You can go. You don't have to. Thank you very much. No. Thank you. Okay, everybody got some things down? So good job, you guys. You got 10 items that you tasted. If there's anything you want to keep on the plate, I would suggest keeping the nose clips because we might use it again next week. So you could keep those, and maybe if you like the chocolate or something, you can keep it. And then you can just stack the plates and pass to the end. That way, when Babaji comes, we won't be leaving all this here, you know? So let's just take a minute and pass down or whatever you don't want. Keep the chocolate and the nose clips out or whatever you like out. And then if you could just stack and pass. Should we pass, which way should we pass? That way? Divya, can you just can you get these? I think that's the last thing. Divya's going to help you just grab those plates. Can you pass your plates down? Okay. Good job. Bye-bye chili peppers. Is anybody keeping the chili pepper? You like it?
And please finish your chocolate.
Did anybody keep the lemon? Anybody keep the turmeric? Pomegranate? You liked it all? Wow. That's cool. Okay, so all the plates have been collected? Huh? Yeah, but keep the nose clips or whatever. Oh no, just keep the extra tray. Yeah, here. Yeah. All the used trays you can take, unless there's nose clips. Okay, I'm going to keep talking, but please don't take this. Can you please just leave the nose clips here? But I'm trying to teach the class, so don't throw anything away. Just put it over there. Okay. So anyway, you guys have just experienced your manas. Okay. So now this is the 4th week in a row you are getting to know your manas very, very clearly. You're seeing how your manas reacts to a lot of things about liking and disliking, right? Divya, don't throw anything away, please. Just leave it there. Yeah, just leave it there. Thank you. Thank you for your help. So you saw it now with the sense of taste, how quickly it's reacting, right? And it has very strong reactions to things that we probably are eating like very regularly, you know, but it's mixed in, it's cooked, and we're doing other things when we're eating, so we don't notice that our mind is always going, oh, like, oh, dislike, oh, like, oh, dislike, you know. So now you've seen how your manas reacts to the sense of taste. So now the last part is for your tasting sheet. For the 6 foods that you tasted, the first 6 that you ranked, put a star by your most favorite one. The one you put as number 1, put a star.
Between 4.
You ranked 1 through 6, right? Out of those 6, not out of 10. Out of 1 through 6, the first 6 foods that you looked at, that you ranked 1 through 6, put a star by the one that you gave as number 1. And put an X by the one that you ranked as number 6. Okay? Got it? Okay. So your preferences, you can look here and see how they played out. what your favorite type of food was that you picked and how it relates to the favorite Ayurvedic 6 tastes. So if you picked the golden raisin as your favorite, that means your favorite taste in this example was sweet. If you picked the lemon, your favorite taste is sour. If you picked the olives, your favorite taste is salty. If you picked the chili pepper, your favorite taste is pungent. If you picked the turmeric, your favorite taste is bitter. And if you picked the pomegranate, your favorite taste is astringent. Now you'd have to test this with other food items, because we only did it with one food item for each category. You could try many other ones. You can Google and get a whole list of foods that are in these different categories. But that's a little interesting thing I thought you might like to know about yourself. And there's more to that. For every taste, there's associated feelings, okay? So if you picked raisins as your favorite, the associated feelings with sweet taste is it gives you feelings of satisfaction, of contentment, of fulfillment. So you can even look at your sheet and look what you wrote down for raisin, the first one you tasted. If you wrote a feeling word, did it relate to feeling satisfied or content or fulfilled? Something in that range? If it did, that kind of matches with the sweet taste. There's many other feelings that could come, but these are some. If you had the lemon, what feeling did you write for that? Lemon gives you actually heightened awareness. You might have felt that. You might not have written my feeling was heightened awareness, but you might have gone, woo, isn't that heightened awareness? Especially it's nighttime, everyone's in the basement, it's getting dark and cold, and then you eat the lemon, it's like, whoa, that's heightened awareness, right? So that's interesting to think, practically speaking, if you're getting tired, maybe you just have a fresh lemon and take a bite. That's one way to quickly change your mood. Salty, the salty taste relates to feeling of desire, or zest for life, or passion. Pungent taste, so that was the olives. The pungent taste is those chili peppers. That comes with the feeling of being like an extroverted person, Think of a chili pepper, it makes you go, woo! I saw some people when you put it in your mouth go, So the chili pepper makes you extroverted, makes you, you can see it that way, driven or ambitious, makes you move, right? The bitter taste, which was the turmeric that you tried. The turmeric root was bitter. That can make you focused. That's interesting, isn't it? Cool-headed, maybe. I don't know if any of you felt that, yeah? You felt that?
Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. And the astringent taste, the pomegranate that you tasted, that can make you introspective. So maybe if you're feeling blocked and you can't think, you could try that one time and be like, all right. I mean, it's so subtle, But you notice it's not that subtle when you're trying it on its own and you're focusing on it. It's actually not that subtle. It's just that we're doing so many other things with our mind when we're eating, we don't notice it. Okay, the astringent taste, this pomegranate can make you mentally clear and composed. So how many in this room noticed some shift in your mood from tasting those 10 things? Did you notice any change in your feelings in your mind? Yeah. Interesting, huh? Okay. So there was a question before that Manu had asked about the difference between feelings and emotions. And I'm just going to quickly address that because in general, to me, it's like splitting hairs because it's like, okay, let's just get, the fact that you're feeling something is good. I don't want to be like, well, is it this or it's that? Because then we might miss your heart, But just so we have it, so you understand the difference, since we're talking about these two words interchangeably, they're not really interchangeable. Your emotions are something instinctual, primal. You're born with them, okay? And they're universal. We all have them. We all have these same basic emotions. And they're general. There's two, raga and dvesha, love and hate, or like and dislike. Okay, so and everybody has it, and that's what we've been experiencing for the past 4 weeks. You've been experiencing your emotions. But then when I say, tell me your feelings, I'm asking you to go deeper. And so the feelings are actually learned and cultural. The reason why I put a picture of a lady here crying at the grave is not all cultures do that. In the US, if somebody dies, it's like you could be crying for years and grieving, and it's like very much supported that you go to grief therapy and you work with a grief therapist. Here in India, it's like, they might do a 10-day thing or a 40-day thing, but it's not like going on and crying, and it's more accepted as part of the culture that that's what happens, because they also believe in something beyond the body when it dies, right? So that's really interesting to know that feelings are learned, also from your family, however your mother, however your father behaved emotionally, you're absorbing all that like a sponge, so it's learned. It's learned by also your friends, your teacher, and all that, but mostly the parents, how they do or don't behave. And it's individual. So when I say, did you like it or dislike it, that's everybody can like or dislike. But then how did you like it is your feeling. So if Ladali was like, well, I liked it because it made me feel excited. And Kama might say, yeah, I liked it too, but it made me feel peaceful. But it's both like. So feelings are individual and learned and cultural. And it's very specific, whereas emotions are just kind of a gut reaction, a primal instinct. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and all the feelings we have in the whole world, like thousands of feelings, they all fit into this category of love or hate or raga or dvesha. But if you guys are talking about feelings or emotions, and same with me, I'm not always going to go, no, that was your feeling or that was your emotion. To me, I'm just excited you're talking about something in your heart. I'm like, okay, we'll go with that, But I just wanted to at least have it so if you have a question, that's the difference. Okay, so now in terms of the sense of taste, the reason why I had you do that exercise with the chocolate was because I think it's so interesting that 80% of our sense of taste is coming from our smell. That's why when you taste the chocolate and you're like, yeah, I can tell it's chocolate, and maybe I can tell it's dark, but when you unplug your nose, it's much stronger, right? That's because smell is actually responsible for our taste. So those two go very close together. And since we just did smell last week and taste this week, I just thought it would be something interesting to share. So without our sense of smell, our taste would be limited just to a few broad categories. Okay? So now I'm going to talk about rasa. The definition of rasa, according to Ayurveda, because it's very interesting. The taste of food is called rasa in Ayurveda. Emotions are also called rasa in Ayurveda. And we just saw it, right? I gave you the list of the 6 tastes and all the emotions connected, and you just experienced it. You felt things when you tasted. So this word rasa is very interesting. The taste of food is called rasa. Emotions are also called rasa. And there's a third thing called rasa. The lymphatic system in Ayurveda is also called rasa. And they call it like a river of life. So it flows. Your lymph is your rasa, and it's a product of your digestion. And it carries your related emotion into every single cell of the body. So you think you're just eating a lemon, but if you have a feeling about that lemon, that feeling is getting into your digestion and going into the cells of your body. So this mind-body connection is very powerful, and they're showing how it's made in Ayurveda. So each of these 6 tastes carries a different type of feeling, right? We just listed those and gave a few examples, right? And you also saw yourself, you had 6 tastes and you saw 6 probably very different feelings, right? And so it's important that we have all 6 tastes in every meal if we want to have a balanced state of mind. And there's a tendency that people don't do that, right? There's a tendency that you favor maybe the sweet taste a little more, or some people like the salty taste a little more, but it's not that usually that we're all like eating all 6 tastes perfectly in every meal. We don't think that way, But that's what's required to have a balanced emotional state. I'm not saying that's the only thing, but we're talking at the taste level today. Obviously, if you have this perfectly balanced tastes, but you've got like a major samskara going on or something happens in your life, you're not going to be like, oh, I had my 6 tastes. Why am I triggered? So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying as far as we can control our mind with the sense of taste, that's the level I'm at least saying today, okay? So it's very challenging to figure out, how do I get all 6 tastes in every meal? I think in general in Indian food they do that with their spices, That's been my experience. But still, maybe not, because maybe you don't like all the spices they're using. Or maybe you want a particular diet, or maybe you tend towards one certain type of food. So I'm just going to show you some examples here. If you have an unbalanced mind due to an excess of any of these 6 tastes, here's how the feelings would look, okay? If you have too much of a sweet taste, you're eating too much sweet, you could end up being kind of complacent or apathetic or kind of indifferent or kind of lazy. Too much sweet. Too much of a sour taste could make you become more critical or more judgmental. Too much of a salty taste can make you like hedonistic or controlled by your senses, basically. Too much of a pungent taste could make you angry and aggressive and offensive. Too much of a bitter taste can make you bitter. Some of these feelings some of these tastes are actually feelings too, right? I'm feeling very bitter. It's like, okay, well, look at what you're eating. Are you eating bitter things? That probably is not good, right? So you can also go backwards with this and go, okay, if I'm feeling really pessimistic lately, let me look at the foods. What foods am I eating that are bitter? You know, there's a way you can reverse engineer it too. Or too much of an astringent taste can make you overly sensitive or fearful or anxious. So that's very interesting, this connection, right, of the foods and the tastes. And I think it's very practical. We can use this in our life and analyze the foods we're eating and see, you know. So an unbalanced mind, if you have too little of a taste, so that was just too much of one of those tastes. So if you have too little, lack of any of these 6 tastes, if you're not getting enough sweet taste, then you're going to feel unsatisfied, discontent. If you're not getting enough sour taste in your food, then you're might feel impulsive, careless, indiscreet, or scattered. You're not getting enough salty taste, you might feel unmotivated. You might feel indifferent about things. You might be procrastinating, like this guy on the couch. He says later. What time am I going to be there? Later. I don't know when. Could be next month. Okay, too much of a pungent taste. You feel passive or non-confrontational. Sorry, too little of a pungent taste. Could make you feel passive or non-confrontational. Too little of a bitter taste could make you feel grief or disappointment. And too little of an astringent taste could make you feel dull or you're listless, you know, or you have brain fog. Okay? But Ayurveda provides a very simple solution for a balanced mind, which is take the 6 different tastes in the form of spices and just make a churna, mix those up together, and you sprinkle it on everything. This is probably like preaching to the choir for most Indian people who grew up in India in a family that they use these spices every day. Same with us at the ashram. It's pretty, I'm sure Dada's using all this, you know. But nevertheless, I made some up for you guys so you can try them. So I made everybody one. I'll show it to you. I put a face on it. So this is manas. These are your manas spices so you can remember. And the ingredients, I'll just pass the basket and everybody can pick one, okay? You can pick whatever one you like. It's all the same in terms of what's inside of it. It's just a different sticker. So these have not been offered. So if you decide to use it, you can offer it. If you want to give it away, that's fine. But so these spices in there are cumin, coriander, turmeric, fennel, salt, cinnamon, green mango, fenugreek, ginger, and red chili. So I put a tiny bit of red chili, just just because they said that's one of the ones that you should include for this. But anyway, this has all the 6 tastes, and also just say that you offer it and try it. You can also be like, oh, this isn't exactly to my taste, and you could add other things, you know, that you've already offered. You could mix it up. I just took the 10 and tried my best to mix it, but I couldn't taste it, you know. So I was just like mixing. And so I don't know, I'm not a chef, but I thought it just to give you a kickstart that you could try. So that way, whatever you're eating, you just sprinkle a little of that on your food, and you can have the 6 tastes and not have to worry about it. And that can give you a head start to balancing your mind. Okay? So, my pleasure. So if you see this, you guys, what I did is just a little analysis. You see these tastes? The most common taste that is in the diet, at least in America, is the sweet taste, you know, and sour and salty. Usually, at least in the U.S., sweet, sour, and salty is like everywhere. Pungent, bitter, and astringent are a lot harder to get in the U.S. typical Western diet, you know. So I'm not saying that's true for India, but interestingly, if you look at what is in this blend, I've analyzed it all, so you can see that most of the spices that are in here have the pungent taste is the most. 8 of the 10 spices have pungent as part of their taste, you know. And then there's quite a bit of bitter. 5 of the spices have bitter, and 5 have sweet. And I think the sweet's like that to cover some of the other harder tastes to digest. The sweet kind of covers it. But all the tastes are in there, and you can see. And you can also analyze yourself. You can see how this might work with your constitution, and the times you'd want to use it. Okay? So that's what I just did. I gave it to you. And then I wanted to tell you also, some of this may be review for you, might already know this, but how you eat is also as important as what you eat, right? So when you're eating, the following factors will influence our state of mind, okay? What you eat, which we already talked about, you just experienced what you eat, but then what you're thinking, what you're feeling. So you could be eating your grief or eating your anger. That's why in Ayurveda they say if you're crying or you're angry or your mind is disturbed, don't be eating that because you're like eating your feelings, you know? You're perpetuating the problem, whatever that feeling is, you know? So you should try to have a calm and peaceful mind when you eat. Your behavior also affects your mind, actually. So just say that you're eating and you're walking or you're driving or you're running or you're fighting with somebody or you're, you know, whatever you're doing, or you're reading something. You're watching the news, you're watching about a war. How do you think that's going to affect your digestion and your mind, you know? So it's your behavior too, the environment you're in. If you don't feel comfortable, if it's too hot or too cold or windy or you're at a train station or, you know, if something's uncomfortable with your environment, you're not going to be feeling peaceful. And also who you eat with. You know, you might be with somebody who's like talking all the time in your face or who's not talking at all. And you're like, oh, are they mad at me? Or will they shut up? Or whatever the thing is. But so you want to be around company that also makes you feel peaceful. Because when you eat, you open. You have to open everything to get the food in, right? But you're also opening your mind. And so things can get in there and influence your mind much more intensely when you're eating than other times. So this 3 states of mind, I know this is a review for a lot of people. The sattva, which is a peaceful state of mind, the rajas, which is like a passionate state of mind, and passionate state of mind, and tamas, which is passive. And all foods that we put affects our state of mind. All foods that we're putting in our mind puts our mind into one of these 3 states. Okay? So these last 3 foods you ate, you had 6, and then you had these 3, right? So these 4, chocolate you had 2, right? So the cucumber was sattvic. If you think about the feeling you felt when you ate the cucumber, was it in that somehow making you feel peaceful or clear or grounded, some of these sattvic feelings? The chocolate, the 2 chocolates you had, rajas, passionate, right? It's like, woo, that was good. And then the canned beans were tamas, right? Because they're, you know, there's not a lot of life force in a canned beans, right? So did you feel some tamasic feelings like sluggish or heavy or passive or, you know, dull? So that's just a self-check. You can analyze yourself and see how much your feelings were, how sensitive you were to your state of mind with these foods. Okay? So this is the story, a quick story of Jess and the big mess. Look at that. Italy, pizza, olive oil. It's going to be a good story, isn't it?
Yes.
Right, Kamala? So, this is my story, Jess, and my big mess. 10 years ago, I was visiting one of my friends in India. This is before I knew about Jiva or Babaji or anything, okay? And my friend asked me to make her an Italian pasta dish. It was her favorite food. Not that I'm from Italy or anything, but she was Indian, so she's like, you know better than me. And I'm like, all right, I'll make you pasta. She's like, you're from America, close enough. And I'm like, okay. So I make that for you. So I went to the international grocery store in Delhi. I was visiting my friend in Delhi. And it took me like an hour to get there. Delhi's huge, you know. It took me forever to get there, and it was so expensive. I mean, because it was international, so everything was like imported from the US, from Italy, from Germany, from France. It was really, really costly. And I'm like, that's okay, it's my friend. So like one little pasta sauce, 1 can of beans, I think I spent $100 just to get pasta, beans. I mean, it was ridiculous. But I was like, it's okay, this is a special treat, you know. So there I was at the international fancy grocery store. I got all my stuff. And when I got to my friend's house, I excitedly unpacked the special food items. When my friend saw these canned beans, because it was like those white cannellini beans, you know, yeah, she saw that and she's like, not even a dog would eat those canned beans. Those beans, they are not fresh, and they have no life in them, and I will not eat those. And they're like $10 a can for a can of, I mean, in the US that would have been $2, but I spent like $20 on canned beans, 2 cans, you know, and she's like, I will not eat those. There's like cannellini, Italian, everything. No. And I didn't want to say I spent $20 on the beans, you know, but I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, there's no life in those things. She was like into Ayurveda, you know, and I'm like, okay. So I felt actually embarrassed because I didn't know she would feel so strongly about canned beans. It's pretty common in the US to eat canned beans, you know. And I apologized, and I made this pasta for her without the beans, you know. It was like a white sauce, you know, with cheese. It was still good, but there's no beans. But anyway, that's okay. It was more about having a nice time with her, and I just remembered, note to self, never bring canned beans to my friend's house again. So on my way home after dinner with the 2 cans of beans that she made me remove from her home, like, because they're so disgusting to her, I came across some hungry street dogs, which if you're in India, at least the part that we live in, they're all over the place, right? So I popped open the lid and I threw the beans on the road for the dogs, because I'm like, I don't believe her. She's like, not even a dog would eat those. I'm like, she's being dramatic, come on. They're hungry, they're like mangy, they're starving, they're gonna eat the beans, you know? So I took it and I threw the threw the beans, and people thought I was like a crazy lady because it was dark, and I popped the lid and I was like dumping beans for the dogs. And the dogs ran over, a bunch of them, and they were like, and they ran away. The dogs ran away. Not one dog, even, they didn't even lick the beans. They just ran away, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Wait, I'm worse than a dog? Because I would eat the canned beans, and these Indian dogs won't eat a canned bean, and they're hungry, you know? So the next time I walked to my friend's house, I came across the same pile of beans. So like almost, you know, at least 12 hours had passed, so think of all the animals. There was wild pigs, like, eating the trash next to the beans, but no, they wouldn't eat the beans. So I was like, oh my God. My friend had a point. And so this is how I learned about tamasic food. I just wanted to share with you. And I have never touched a can of beans except for to give you one each today to try. But in my life, no matter how hungry I get, it's normal where I live. Like my mom has them at her house and everything, but she's like, do you want some? Not that. No, I don't want because I'll never forget the dog, the pigs, and everything. It would not eat it, you know? So I just wanted to share that to bring home tamasic food concept. And I want to end just with a short poem that Babaji wrote today for you guys in the class. He called it Food and Mood. This is what he said. Listen up, oh dear dude. Know that food affects your mood. Therefore, tamasic items exclude. And only sattvic things include. Sattvic foods make you feel renewed. But if you eat tamasic food, you will become very rude and you will start feuds. Rajasic food makes you lewd and come unglued. Pure diet leads to pure booty. This you can conclude. Sattvic diet gives Dhruva Smriti, a permanent mood. Dhruva Smriti results in Krishna Priti and a divine mood of eternal servitude. Hare Krishna. Okay? Yeah. Radhe Radhe. So any questions or feedback on what your experience was today with the sense of taste? Yes, Malika?
I have a question or a remark. Maybe you know also something about this, that when you were saying that...
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
It's better like this?
Huh?
I put it closer, it's better? Okay. I heard that women have a bigger lymphatic system or a more elaborate lymphatic system. So if in Ayurveda this lymph is also rasa, and rasa goes along with emotion, I mean, that would kind of explain some emotional things, right?
That's very interesting. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that about women, but that makes sense, because in general, women tend to be more in touch with their feelings, more emotional, more lymphatic system. It all goes together.
I did not investigate more about it, but when I heard you speaking about it, I thought that's maybe a nice, I mean, at least to have a look at it to see what is in there.
Yeah. Interesting. Yes, Bhagavati. Can you get the mic?
Bhagavati has a question. She wants to know what Babaji thinks about veganism.
About?
Veganism.
Vegan. Good question for Babaji.
Esa es una pregunta para Babaji. Yes.
Anything else? Yes, Kamala.
Very interesting about this connection between the feeling and the taste, and the excess of this. Let's say one is grieving only for sweet, and this can also show a lack or excess of the opposite what the taste is actually giving. For example, if I grieve for sweet, maybe because I'm depressed, or I don't know if there is something like that. Or
Are you saying craving?
yeah, craving.
Okay, you're craving a sweet. Could that mean that you're depressed? Is that, or are you trying to make the
Yeah,
connection?
try to make an example. I
Yeah.
don't. It's not my feeling, but
It could be.
could be.
It
Yeah?
could be. It's a good thing to introspect on and see.
Okay.
It's a very good question to look at that level with the food, what you're craving, and then be like, okay, if I don't, do I not have enough of that in my life? Am I craving sweet things because I'm missing sweetness in my life?
Okay.
That's a very good level of introspection, and you can report back to us and tell us what you think. Watch your mind and see.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I can't see. Okay. Purushottam?
I have a question. Is there any, in Ayurvedic, any book or anything, all the listing of all the primarily Indian or vegetarian food listed as which category of which Russia they belong to or anything? Is it available someplace?
Probably. I like Vasant Lad. He has a good book. He has a lot of good books. Vasant Lad.
Okay.
You can see he has a really nice Ayurveda cookbook. He has many nice books, where he lists all that kind of stuff.
How is it called?
You can look
Okay,
up
thank you.
Vasant Lad, L-A-D. He has many different ones.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys very much. Haribol.